still there's this. Back to Lemuria. My HB stayed with me in Long Island for 3 months, and we searched all over for a place for me to root. As much as I love Long Island, and it will always be my home, the sacred land of Lemuria was calling me back. Plus, it was already cold and bitter in October, and my tropical bones couldn't handle it. Against direct advice provided by my spirit guides, I decided to try rooting with my HB in his cabin in Puna, a lush tropical town on the Big Island. I honestly don't know what I was thinking. I can be pretty thick-headed. I think they call that selective hearing. My entourage's advice was good advice, but I guess I still had some learning, living, and growing to do. The Pueo. One day we were driving down Red Road. It is so beautiful in Puna, especially where HB lives. It's like you've stepped into another dimension, almost like a Harry Potter movie with the 200-foot mango trees lining the one-lane road, and the other side is the ocean. It's just so stunning and magical. I was observing the beautiful scenery when I thought to myself, I have heard the owl's call my whole life, yet I have never seen one in the wild. The Hawaiian word for owl is pueo. Within moments of having this thought, a pueo appeared. Mesmerized, I sat watching as it flew down the road, full speed with wings fully spanned out and slowly flapping in the air toward our car. It was a majestic sight. I was in awe. The only thing I could do was hit my beloved on the arm and point. The pueo came right to the windshield and then swooped toward my side of the car and flew by me, making eye contact. I've come to learn when an animal makes eye contact with you, they are connecting their Akash thread to yours. It's very special and meaningful. You will always be connected to them. Wow, wow, wow. We both just sat speechless for a minute or two. It was one of those moments when words would have definitely taken away from the experience of the beautiful white snowy owl. I took in the pueo's mighty energy with honor and thanked her for listening to my call and showing up for me. I felt so blessed and connected. It was a miraculous moment. The owl's medicine. Who are you? In a past life, I was a native medicine woman and carried with me the knowledge that the owl is synonymous with the gift of higher knowledge and insight. They carry the medicine of sight beyond illusion. The owl is a symbol for wisdom because the owl can see what others cannot, which is the essence of true wisdom. Where others are deceived, owls know and see. Owls are often associated with magic and witchcraft because of the nature of supernatural transformation, which includes the cycles of birth and death that lead to spiritual evolution. The snowy owl is the symbol of endurance. It represents big dreams and the ability to achieve them. It is a sign of new beginnings and moving forward in strength with all might. The owl speaks to us about psychic ability, illumination, support, and inner knowing. It makes sense the owl came to me. Mahalo pueo. Never discourage anyone who continually makes progress, no matter how slow. Plato. GPS. Even if you get direct instructions and guidance from God, you still have free will that reigns supreme. I'm very strong-willed, so no matter what anyone says, even God it seems, I still do what I want. It can drive me crazy because almost every time I don't listen to God's guidance, it brings about a more arduous path. It's okay if you feel like you've trodden down a road with lots of potholes, twists, and turns. If you listen to your GPS, God's positioning system, you can get right back on the path with ease and grace. When you're on a road trip with your location GPS and make a wrong turn, the GPS never says, "Hey, where have you been?" It only gives you directions on where you are going. If you take a detour or make a wrong turn, it will bring you back to your original destination every time. GPS won't say, "Hey, Magellan, you screwed up. Now you're lost. Let's turn around and just go home, loser." The GPS says, "Rerouting. Please proceed to the highlighted route." Having a destination, purpose, or vision for your life keeps you from becoming a cork, bobbing aimlessly on the ocean, observing and complaining. Most often we can't see the big picture through our limited human perspective. We only get to see the next step. I think the Pueo was transmitting its energy of endurance to me because I had a long, bumpy road ahead. The jungle life. Living off-grid is not as simple and glamorous as it's portrayed in the movies. I figured out that living off-grid in the jungle wasn't for me. I tried to make it work. I really gave it my all. While we were on Long Island, a mold explosion happened in my HB's car from my straw cowboy hat. It was a nightmare to get it out. The downfall to living in the jungle is that you're battling the mold constantly. It is a nearly impossible task and stressful for me being a clean, neat freak. When we returned from Long Island, I cleaned 8 hours a day, 3 weeks straight, so I could get HB's cabin back to some sort of normalness and cleanliness. We ran out of water in the catchment tank, which is very unusual considering it's the rainy side of the Big Island, and water is never an issue. However, we used so much of it to clean since the car, cabin, and every little thing were covered in mold from being away for 3 months. The well went dry. I decided to do a rain dance in the kitchen one day because I really needed a shower. I prayed and danced and chanted for the rain, and it came almost immediately. As wonderful and magical and powerful as that was to call in rain from the sky, it's a lot different than walking into your bathroom and simply turning on the faucet for a hot shower and getting water instantly. Can you imagine if each time you needed a shower you had to do a rain dance? It's a lot of work. Besides the mold, I couldn't get used to the threat of rat lung poison from the crawly, slimy snails that seemed to be everywhere. Then there were the fire ants that left burning stings for days on your private parts, centipedes, mosquitoes, cockroaches, or 457s to be more precise. Don't even get me started on the rats on the kitchen counter and the spiders. I wish I was okay with creepy, crawly things, but they really freak me out. There are certain things I can give up no problem. I can live without television, radio, furniture, fancy clothes, but I learned how much I like and appreciate flushing toilets, electricity, the sun, and my own money. Here I go again on my own. I brought myself back to being dependent on another without consciously being aware. That whole letting a man take care of you was definitely not for me. I realized this when we were shopping at the store and wanted this particular suntan lotion, and he said no. No? What? What? How is that? That was a wake-up moment for me. I needed to be free in every way, and that was not for me. I had lasted 5 weeks in the jungle, but it was time to be on my own and take my independence back. It's funny how saying something in your head to yourself is totally different from saying it out loud to another person. It wasn't easy to actually say the words to HB. I observed myself barely being able to squeak them out. I told him I needed to move back to Kona and find my own place. He asked if it was for two. I said, no, just me. That was a hard thing to say, but I had to. Finally, Spirit's advice sunk in. I moved out in December of 2019 to find my own apartment in Kona. I had nothing at the time, no money, no car, and no place to live. Luckily, I had an angel in my life who lent me enough money to buy a used minivan, and that's what I lived in with karma until I found a space in Kona.